Well, hey there, everybody. You were just going to keep scrolling by, not watching this video without... I don't even remember the joke now. I have... What do I even say?
I was going to do a spit take. I was getting ready.
What's that? You're just going to scroll on by without stopping and saying, Howdle? Aaron Howdle? Sorcerer's Enclave?
That's right, everybody. Today, we're talking about the Sorcerer's Enclave.
This video is brought to you by Terror Vision. Terror Vision is a Ghostbusters-esque point-crawl tabletop RPG adventure set in 1986 fictional New York. It is part of Zine Quest and made by our good friend Lex Mandrake, so you should totally check it out. If you are interested in D6 dice pool systems or Ghostbusters or the 80s or various other things, this is going to be a digest-sized point crawl map with 12 locations, supernatural entities, so you can run your own TerrorVision spectral paranormal investigator style game. Now, this utilizes the OpenD6 system, which was created by West End Games, and they used that system to create Star Wars games and Ghostbusters games and a whole bunch of other stuff. And at the very end of West End Games, they took that and they gave it away for free. So this game is based off of the OpenD6 system, but it's a little less complicated, more fun. So check it out today, TerrorVision on the Kickstarters, and let them know that I sent you. Hey everybody, Jordan here, the PH is silent, and I'm here with my good friend Lex on this episode of Games with Lex, and we're talking about the Sorcerer's Enclave by Aaron Howdle, which I shouldn't make fun of your last name. It's just that was the terrible joke I came in. So, Aaron, you make a good product. Good job. Good job. Lex, right, what is the Sorcerer's Enclave?
The Sorcerer's Enclave is a 48-page art book by Aaron Howdle, intended for use as a setting guide for fantasy RPGs. It was kickstarted in late 2022 and released in early 2023. It retails for about $6 digitally and £25 physically. I could have converted that to dollars, but I'm too stupid. So, that's right. We're talking about something a bit different this week. We're trying to branch out. This isn't a game system, or even a standard kind of game supplement. Sorcerer's Enclave is art and short prose. It actually kind of reads like a children's book, but much darker.
Oh.
And it's written like kind of like a travelogue, right? So the Sorcerer's Enclave, it oozes theme. It gives you this sort of classic fighting fantasy scenario vibe. Like if you like Russ Nicholson's art from the 80s on those old adventure books, you're really going to dig this because it really feels like a send up to that. But yeah, it's very cool.
No, this is really interesting. So I was trying to ask, is it system neutral? But it has to be. It's kind of just like, here's a place you can visit, but I haven't given you any game stats or anything. So, how bizarre, but really cool.
Howdle bizarre.
It's good. It's good. You're hired. You can stay as co-host for a little while. We'll keep the show's name Games with Lex. Thank you.
So the Sorcerer's Enclave is presented as one big side view cutaway map of a castle that's dedicated to the study and practice of magic, sitting on a tiny island in an inland ocean. As we read through the book, rather than getting distinct pieces of art for each location, we actually get detailed close-ups of the giant map, often accompanied by some character art. So if you want to flip back to the book, you can see that there's places like the Druid's Way or the Dueling Pit or the Portal Chamber. And each are shown and given like a half page of in-world text telling us, you know, what goes on there. But like I said, it's all in-world, so it's like the narrator is talking to you as if you are visiting it and saying like, oh, this and down here is the Dueling Pits.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What?
it's very cool.
It's pretty awesome.
There are also little side sections for a couple different things. One of which is minions, which are these little dudes that appear on like a bunch of the pages and throughout the art. And it's just delightful. They're just these extra planar dudes who get summoned there to do all the work for the wizards. And they have this very like Tim Burton-y vibe to them. Maybe it's just the fact that most of them are wearing pinstripes, but it's very fun. So yeah, great stuff. But knowing that the book presents its stuff in that way, where you've got the one big map and then you get the close-ups, right?
Yeah.
How do you feel about this presentation style compared to like maybe other setting books you've read? Because I haven't seen this before in anything.
Yeah. No, this is exactly the kind of setting book I want. Like, I love things like this. I am in terms of style, it actually reminds me of The Dark of Hot Springs Island, which is also system neutral, and just kind of like, here are characters and here's art to really sell it to you, which I love. Like when you have the art and it's like, here's what the minions look like, here's what the castle looks like, and things like that. It gives me the overall kind of like vibe for it. So I would much prefer, I guess, I don't know, it's a catch-22. On the one hand, I want a setting book to be like, here's an interesting setting. And then on the other hand, I want, and here are the interesting mechanics to go with that setting. But I don't necessarily want like, here's all the monsters and stuff. I want like, how do my characters interact with this setting? This is reminding me a little bit about the Neverland or Wizard of Oz settings that I have for 5e. And the Wizard of Oz one specifically is very system neutral. Like, I feel like I could run that with anything, even though it's branded as 5e. I think strictly so it just gets more sales.
That's the Andrew Kolb ones.
Yeah,
I think I have the Wizard of Oz one in the other room as well. It's great, man.
Yeah, and it
premium.
Like, there's a couple of little mechanical things, but for the most part, it's like, I don't know, just go out. And with The Dark of Hot Springs Island, I've ran that in DCC and in 5e. And the hardest part is finding the monster equivalent. But I noticed that the more OSR you get, the easier it is for me to kind of make up the monsters as we play, as opposed to trying to find that like specific monster equivalent. So no, but I love stuff like this. I think this is really cool. Like, the art's selling it already. And then you have like the big picture and then the zoom in little sections of everything. So
like we were talking about, there's no mechanical text in the Sorcerer's Enclave. It doesn't even really discuss how a GM can run the setting or how a player can play in it, because again, it's all as if the narrator is talking to you and you're visiting the Enclave, right? So it's all in world flavor text, right? However, we do notice that as we read through the book, a narrative starts unfolding where like one of the wizards is like playing to take control of the castle for their own ends. It's like there's a necromancer, classic evil wizard stuff. And when you combine that with this sort of like map style layout that goes from like room to room, it actually almost starts to read like a dungeon module, kind of.
Okay.
A little bit. Like, not exactly, but it sort of follows that format, which is really interesting to me. But overall, I think the Sorcerer's Enclave feels like cotton candy to me. That's the best analogy I can make, right? It's pretty, it tastes good, but you bite into it and it's like it evaporates. There's no substance.
Oh, okay.
And this is not a criticism, right? Like, I don't mean that that's bad. I love cotton candy. Cotton candy is an amazing carnival food. You should get it if it's available. It's amazing. But it's just to say that this book there's no mechanics in it at all, and there really isn't even guides for how to do mechanics in it. It's just flavor. So then the big question becomes, is that enough? Can we take this book, maybe in a system you already know, right, and run it? Because that's the big question. That's the big question to me. I don't know if I could.
Well, so are there NPC names or anything?
I think there are a couple of named characters, yeah, and there's there's a bunch of art of different characters that show up,
Like
and I
the
think
Master
some
of
them are named.
Potions, like this chamber
Yeah.
has the Master of Potions, and blah blah blah. Is fluff enough for a setting book? Short answer, no. Like I think you need if you're gonna make a true full setting book, but like I would love something like this for man. I really need to plug in a Sorcerer's Enclave in my city. Like my homebrew setting needs a Sorcerer's Enclave. I feel like I know the majority of the system I'm using for my city and things like that, but to have this and just to be able to like plop it down in the city, and then when people come, I can reference this, and I don't even have to tell my players that I'm referencing a specific thing, but just to have it to be like, oh yeah, there's a Master of Potions. Oh, I want to go there. Like, where is their interest lying? You know. So for at least this supplement, I think it is enough. Like I love all of this so far. Like I think it's really great. So,
yeah,
but you're right.
I
There's
guess
a little. I'm seeing the meta narrative now. Like, there's like little
Mm-hmm.
things going on, and the necromancers and stuff. It's cool.
Yep. I guess it's just the kind of like you can employ it, but you have to just be careful about when you employ it, or like what context you employ it in.
And maybe that's because that's something I've done a long time, or for a long time. Like when I was running 5e D&D back in the day, I took the Gloomrot Shadowfell 4th edition stuff, and I didn't convert it over word by word, but like there's things you can take where it's like, here's the layout of the city. Here are the NPCs in that city. Here are the factions in that city and how they're interacting with each other. All of that is like system neutral. Like you just do it. And I feel like this is similar, where it doesn't have that guise of like, and here's all the 4th edition rules that you need, but it has all of the stuff that I want for putting it into my game, you know? So just saying, this could be a really cool wizard tower for a Forbidden Lands game. Like, pretty awesome.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
That's what the art reminds me of, at least.
Yeah, no, it does feel very Forbidden Landsy, I think. It's definitely something that I would say if you're going to buy it, buy the physical. Because it's so cool to look at, and it comes with the big poster of the Sorcerer's Enclave, the full image.
Yeah.
Which would be great just to like hang on your wall, because you just look at it and there's so much detail. You can just look at it forever. There's so many interesting little things in there.
The art,
it's almost like you can make an entire book out of it.
Hey. But no, if I needed a wizard tower, I feel like this is a great thing to just plop in my city, you know.
Yeah. But yeah, so the Sorcerer's Enclave, it's very clearly a passion project by a very talented artist, and I think you should just support that kind of stuff because it's really cool when people make it, and I want more people to make stuff like that. So there needs to be a market for it. You gotta buy these things.
Yeah, and like bravo trying something new with a setting book, you know? Like maybe not, like I'm sure there's like, well, if I want to do this and this and this, but I love the people that are out there being like, well, what if we just made it different? Like, let's just try, and maybe this will take off, maybe it won't. But the fact that they're trying something new and not, you know, and there's probably there's people like me, but there's somebody out there that will really resonate with this, as opposed to I'm not resonating with the latest campaign setting or something like that for OSR in general. You know, I don't know.
Yeah,
but
we cracked a lot of jokes at the start of the show about the artist's last name, but really we have the utmost respect for them because their work is spectacular.
It's really good stuff. I'm like super curious about this bigger world now.
Yeah, like, I don't know if there's any other products that flesh it out. I mean, like, clearly the artist has it in their head, but I haven't looked into if there's any more stuff about it.
Because I just think this is really cool. There's these 4, I guess, island continent things, and he's got all these rivers and forests and stuff. It would be, I want to go explore more of this now that he's given us this resource. So really cool. Well, that's the Sorcerer's Enclave. How much is? Where can people find this? I'll put links down below. But is it on itch?
It's on
or is
DM's Guild.
DM's
It's
Guild?
on DM's Guild or I'm sorry, not DM's Guild. Drive Through RPG.
Oh.
Let me start that again. It's on Drive Through RPG, and there's also a link on there to the website where you can buy the physical copies, which I think is Square Hacks. Don't quote me, but
Okay.
like I said, there's a link on there.
That's awesome. Yeah. So thank you, Aaron Howell, for making a cool product. Sorcerer's Enclave. Thank you, Lex, for picking this up and reviewing it with us. This is awesome. That is it for Games with Lex this week, but we'll be back in the future with another episode. So subscribe and stay tuned.